Hi students. Next part with respect to material costing theory. In the previous part we have come across what is called the material cost, inventory control techniques, various stock levels, stores records, bin code versus stores ledger. All those things we have discussed, including economic ordering quantity we have discussed. Now, we are going to discuss about the next concept, interesting concept, short notes question. Last session we have discussed about bin. What do you mean by bin? Where we are going to keep the raw material, that is called bin. The container is called bin. Assume this is the bin. There I have kept the raw material inside. The bin is full of what? Raw material. Whenever I need raw material, I am going to take the raw material from that bin. Now, assume total container size comes to 120 kgs. 120 kgs of raw material is there. And whenever we need raw material, we are going to take the raw material from here. Can you please tell me the level of material comes down this level? Raw material level comes below this level, in this level. Whether you have to repurchase, no need. In that level, no need. In this level, no need. But in this level, yes. Up to this stage, we no need to repurchase. We can make use of the raw material. But below in which one particular point, we have to repurchase the raw material. Clear? So, for the purpose of better identification, better we can be the question to mark. So, up to this level of inventory, we no need to repurchase. Below this level, below that line, the inventory level comes down, then we have to repurchase. Therefore, assume the total container size is 120 kgs, I said. Here 100 kgs and here assume 20 kgs. So below the line 20 kgs and above line what? 100 kgs. And first we are going to make use of that 100 kgs first. Thereafter only below that line comes, we are going to repurchase a raw material. Therefore, this particular level of inventory is called reorder level. When I have to purchase the line that is 20 kgs of raw material is called reorder level. Now got the idea or not? So 20 kg is called reorder level. In which level I have to repurchase, that particular level is called reorder level. How many quantity I have to purchase? The remaining 100 quantity. That 100 quantity may be called reordering quantity. So 100 kg is called reordering quantity, 20 kg is called reorder level. Which level I am going to place an order is called reorder level, and how many kgs I am going to purchase is called reorder quantity. That reordering quantity is also known as economic ordering quantity. Last session we have discussed about EOQ is equal to ROQ, but ROQ may not equal to EOQ. In what all the circumstances also already we have discussed. So 20 kg is called reorder level. It's also called reorder point. Which point we have to reorder? That particular point is called what? Reordering point. Suppose if I'm going to maintain this type of inventory system in my stores, in my factory, because it's very difficult for me to teach each and every employee what is the minimum level, what is the maximum level. Just we can draw one line in the bin. Whenever you are using the raw material, below the line, the line has touched, okay, that time we can repurchase. Then if for them very easy. After taking the raw material, yes sir, the raw material level comes down to what? This particular line. Then we can repurchase, we can place an order. It's an easy way to maintain the record so that we can avoid stock out. Now, whenever we need the raw material, we are going to take the raw material from here. Therefore, this part is called the issue part. We are going to issue the raw material from here. Therefore, it's called the issue part. Below line is called base part. What is it called? Base part. Therefore, there are two parts are there. One is called the issue part, another one is base part. Whenever we need the raw material, we are going to take the raw material from issue part. The moment I'm going to take the raw material from base spot, what we have to do? We have to reorder. Clear? This particular system of maintenance of record are known as two bin system. Two bins mean there is no two bins. Okay, one bin has been divided into two parts. It's a system of stores where in each bin is divided into two parts. Two bin system is a system of stores where bin has been divided into two parts. One is called base part, another one is called issue part. Base part or smaller part is where quantity equal to minimum stock or reordering level is kept. Issue part is where the remaining quantity is stored. Issues are made out of larger part. That is what issue part. But as soon as it becomes necessary to use the quantity from the base part, fresh order to be made. This system is supplement to the record of respective quantities on the bin card and stores ledger. So got the idea about two bin system? Clear? So two bin system represent bin has been divided into two parts. One is issue part, another one is base part. Now we are in two bin system. Yes, the bin has been divided into two different parts. Clear? So understood now what is called reorder level, reorder quantity, economic ordering quantity, reordering points and all. Clear? Good. So two bin system is an expected question as well as important question. Now, the next important concept, this question is a very, very frequently asked question called ABC analysis. Now we are going to discuss about ABC analysis. With respect to ABC analysis, November 2004, 2005, May 2008, November 2011, May 2017, so many times the same question has been repeated with respect to ABC analysis. Listen here, it's a commonly committed mistake from student side. Activity-based costing is different. ABC is different. Activity-based costing, separate topic. And ABC analysis is different. Okay. So before you are going to solve the problem answer in exam, kindly refer whether ABC analysis, that is the material or activity-based costing. Okay. Now, with respect to ABC analysis, it's one of the inventory control technique. One of the inventory control technique. It's also called Pareto analysis, P-A-R-E-T-O, Pareto analysis, or 70:20:10 analysis, or selective stock control analysis. Pareto analysis, 70:20:10 analysis, or what? Selective stock control analysis is called Pareto analysis. With respect to Pareto analysis, how they are going to maintain? Here, it is for the purpose of better inventory control system. All the inventories can be broadly categorized into three parts: A category item, B category item, C category item. That's why it's called ABC analysis. A category item, high value items. The total value of the stock, where we are getting what all the stock comes over high value, more value, that is called A category item. B category items are moderate value. C category items are low value, less value. Clear? It's based on value, not based on quantity. But with respect to quantity, ulta, A category item, little quantity only will be there. C category item, more quantity will be there. D category item, what? Moderate quantity will be there. It's not a new technique and all. Take our own example in your home. In your home is our example. Few items, all the item, whatever there in your home, everything out of hard-earned money of your father. Your parents are spending money for the purpose of purchasing all the goods, all the products. But few product will be there in the lock and key. And a few product will be there in the what? Even the open shelf. Few product will be there in outside what? Home. It's purely based on what? Value involved in it. Jewelry, cash, all those things will be there in the lock and key. And just like that, anyone can be the person to accept is possible? No. Strict control will be there. Frequent verifications also will be there in case of A category item. So the cash, jewelry and all comes under one A category item. Dress material, even if it is there in the open shelf, no issue. No issue. Therefore, it's not a much controlled one. Okay, it's not comes under the A category, it's a B category. Chapel, broomstick, C category item. Neither in lock and key, nor in open shelf. It will be there the outside also. Then even loss has happened, minimum only. So that is called one C category item. So we are going to classify, it's purely based on value involved only. No? Clear? Even though even the broomstick also purchased out of hard-earned money, but few things only there in the lock and key. Few things only frequent verification required. So same manner, why the small parts of the jewelry missed out, huge loss. Therefore, that should be in the proper control. It's purely based on what? Inventory control technique. It is for the purpose of better inventory control. ABC analysis for better inventory control. Clear? Now, ABC analysis. It's a system of inventory control. It exercise determining discriminating control over, I'll repeat, it exercise discriminating control over different item of stores classified on the basis of investment involved. Control, we have the discrimination. All are not having the same level of control. Discrimination in control based on value involved, investment involved. ABC analysis is also known as Pareto analysis, 70:20:10 analysis, and selective stock control analysis. Student, remember one thing, whatever your understanding is different, and what and all you understood, how we are reproducing the answer is different. For that purpose, you need sufficient point to write. Therefore, number of points also equally important. Therefore, you have to take parallel notes. So the ABC analysis is also known as what? Pareto analysis, 70:20:10 analysis, or selective stock control analysis. Usually, the item are divided into three categories according to their importance. That is value according to their importance. That is what? Their value during the period. Based on the value only, whether it is called A or B or C, that we can identify. Then, in this system, inventories are categorized into three different parts. What are all them? A category inventory, B category inventory, and C category inventory. A category item represent what? Consists of only a small percentage, quantity wise very less. That is about 10% on total item handled by the stores, but required heavy investment, about 70% of the inventory value. Quantity wise, A category item 10% only based on overall total quantity, whereas value wise in overall total value 70% goes to A category because of their high price or heavy requirement or both. So this is called one A category item. Now B category item. With respect to B category items are relatively less important. That is about 10% on total. That is what? That is relatively less important. They may be 20% on total items of material handled by the stores. And the percentage of investment required is about 20% on total investment. So value wise also 20%, quantity wise also 20% is called one B category item. Whereas C category item does not require much investment. It may be about 10% on total inventory value and 70% on what? Quantity involved. Clear? That is called A category item, B category item, and C category item. Then you can make a note, particulars, A category, B category, and C category, 4-column table, so that we can write more points. Tabular wise table, A category, particulars, A category, B category, and C category. Quantity involved, A category 10%, good. B category 20%, C category 70%. Whereas value involved, A category 70%, B category 20%, C category only 10%. Level of importance, A category high level important, B category moderate, C category least important. Level of control, A category strict control, B category selective control, C category little control. Review of stock, A category regular basis you have to review the stock, B periodic review is important, and C what rarely we may go into review. Lead time, you know, lead time is a time gap between what and what? Date of order and the date of receipt, of course, the time gap between ordering date and receipt date. Lead time, maximum effort to reduce the lead time is required in case of A category item. For B category item, moderate effort to reduce the lead time, and C category minimum effort is required to read the lead time. Level of management taken care by, who has to handle? A category item, yeah, A category item senior officer, B category item middle management, whereas C category item clerical staff has to handle. Next, follow up. A category item maximum follow up is required in case of A category item. B category item periodic follow up is required, whereas C category item required only exceptional follow up requirement is only exceptional cases. So that if you are going to write the tabular format, you'll have a better view with respect to A, B, and the C category. Okay, ABC analysis. Advantages of ABC is a very frequently asked question. What about the advantages of ABC? Clear? With respect to advantage, first advantage, 4 advantages are there. First one, cost saving, smooth flow. Second one is smooth flow, control by exception, and the standardization of work. What are all the 4 advantages? Cost saving, smooth flow, control by exception, standardization of work. CSCS, company secretary, CSCS. So cost saving, smooth flow, control by exception, and standardization. Cost saving, advantages of ABC. Cost saving, the cost of placing an order, receiving the goods, or maintain stocks are minimum. Maintaining stocks is minimized. Because of this ABC analysis, cost of placing an order, receiving the goods, and maintaining the stocks are minimized. Smooth flow, it ensures that without there being any danger of interpretation or interruption of production of what material or stores or minimum investment is made, inventories or stock of material ought to be carried. I'll repeat once again. Smooth flow. What is called smooth flow? Uninterrupted flow. We are in raw material. We need to finish the goods. For that, we have to supply the raw material. Smooth flow will be there. Few more supposed to be there. There is no disturbance. That is called smooth flow. It ensures without there being any danger of interruption of production for want of material. Want of material should not be there. Always what available stock should be there in the godown or stores. Want of material of stores or material. Minimum investment is made in inventories of stocks of material or stocks to be carried. So minimum investment should be there. At the same time, what flow should be proper. Third one is what? Controlled by exception. Management's time is saved since attention need to be paid only to some of the item rather than all the item. Only exceptional case only management can be the person involved and what the attention is focused only for the most important item. Therefore, control by exception. Exceptional cases only we have to what? Go on to verify. Other things management will take care. In the sense of what? Only exceptional circumstance we have to report to the management. If I am the top management, A category item frequently I am going to concentrate on control is there proper manner. Therefore, everything will be proper. Remaining things small hiccup I can want. Only in exceptional case I have to involve in other items so that my control level will be in the proper manner. Standardization of work. With the introduction of ABC system, much of the work connected with purchase can be systemized on the routine basis to be handled by the subordinate staff. Since A, B, and C category, we are going to classify the inventory. Level of management, A category means senior officer has to manage. B category means middle management has to manage. C category means clerical staff has to handle. Since we are going to classify the item and what responsibility has been transferred, standardization of work will be there. C category, he will take care. A category, this person has to take care. So standardization of work will be there. That will help for the purpose of smooth flow also. So there are 4 advantages are there. What are they? Cost saving, smooth flow, control by exception, and standardization of work. These are all one advantages of ABC. Now, we'll see some practical, concept-based practical question, concept-based theory question, first exam question. Okay. Yeah. Identify the following item comes under what category of stock under ABC analysis. Okay. This type of 4 or 5 mark question is a frequently asked question. So we have to identify. Questions will be the inventory, what nature will be there, and the category you have to identify. So just you are going to write the category. Further, you have to learn the theory. A, B, and C is the category. Further, each one carries 1 mark. Little control of stock. Which category? You can also try. Yes, C category. Review of stock is a periodical basis. B category. Maximum effort to reduce the lead time. Which one? A category. Then, supervised by the clerical stock. Yes, C category. High level importance stock. A category. Next, follow-up is required only in exceptional case. C category. 100% value involved. Yes, C category. Sorry, 10% value involved. C category. 20% quantity involved. B category. Required strict control. A category items required strict control. Clear? Now, we'll go to next one. The next important one. So, hope you understood ABC analysis. Clear? So, very frequently asked a question, either advantages or concept-based theory question or direct theory question, explain or short notes on ABC analysis. Now, the next important question. FSN. What is called the FSN? FSN stands for what? Fast moving, slow moving, and non-moving stock is a FSN. With respect to FSN, you should be in the position to know inventory turnover ratio. For your kind information, based on inventory turnover ratio, in previous exams, they asked 6 or 7 mark question, practical question itself. And based on inventory turnover ratio only, FSN we can identify, whether fast moving stock or slow moving stock or non-moving stock. So I forced to explain what is called the inventory turnover ratio. What is the formula for inventory turnover ratio? After finishing that, I'll come back to what? FSN. Okay. What is the formula for inventory turnover ratio? Yes. Cost of raw material consumed divided by average stock of raw material is a formula for inventory turnover ratio. What is the formula? Cost of raw material consumed divided by average stock of raw material is the inventory turnover ratio. Numerator, cost of raw material consumed. So what is the formula for cost of raw material consumed? Opening stock of raw material plus purchase value of raw material less closing stock of raw material balance is called cost of raw material consumed. Average stock of raw material represent what? Opening stock plus closing stock will be 2 is equal to average stock. This is what they asked in the previous question. 2 raw material A and B, opening stock, purchase, closing stock. We have to compute what? FSN, fast moving or slow nature of stock, fast moving stock or non-moving stock or slow moving stock. Clear? So for that purpose, first you have to compute inventory turnover ratio. So inventory turnover ratio, after applying the formula, you will get inventory turnover ratio, cost of raw material consumed by average stock of raw material. Next, based on that, you have to compute average number of days for which the stock is held. How to compute average number of days in which stock is held? 365 divided by inventory turnover ratio. Formula is what? 365 divided by inventory turnover ratio is equal to average days the raw material has been held. So the raw material should be held. How many days we got it? If the raw material held in Godown, more days means good or bad? Bad. Because you had to rotate, you had to convert it to finished goods. So high number of days, for example, A 45 days, and B 75 days. C is a what? Sorry, B is a what? 45 days is A, and B is a 75 days. Then 75 days is a what? Slow moving stock. Comfortable or not? Therefore, number of days should be less. High number of days means slow moving stock. Less number of days mean fast moving stock. Rather, inventory turnover ratio high means fast moving stock. Inventory turnover ratio low means it's a slow moving stock. Comfortable or not? Clear? So high inventory turnover ratio, fast moving stock. Low inventory turnover ratio, slow moving stock. So formula for inventory turnover ratio, cost of raw material consumed by average stock of raw material. Based on that only, FSN, fast moving, slow moving, and non-moving stock has come. It's also known as fast moving, slow moving, non-moving stock, FSN. Inventories are classified on the basis of frequency of usage. How frequently we are using the material. Accordingly, we are classifying. Inventories are classified based on frequency of usage. Inventory is classified as fast, slow, and non-moving by analyzing inventory turnover ratio of different types of stock. This has been derived based on inventory turnover ratio. You know the formula for the inventory turnover ratio. Fast moving stock represent what? High inventory turnover ratio is the fast moving stock. High inventory turnover ratio is a fast moving stock. Placed very near to the store's issue point. So placed very near to the store's issue point, and that stock has been reviewed frequently. Frequent review is must. Then slow moving stock. What is called slow moving stock? Have low inventory turnover ratio as compared to fast moving stock. Stores little, it has been little far because the slow moving stock. I'll repeat once again. Slow moving stock have a low inventory turnover ratio. Clear? And it has been stored in the far away, little away, because rarely only we need. Stocks are reviewed, periodical reviews must. Okay, periodical review is sufficient. Another one is called non-moving stock. Non-moving stock, zero inventory turnover ratio or very less inventory turnover ratio. Okay, held for disposal. Since non-moving, we have to dispose it off. Clear? And reported to the management for providing losses for that. So accounting treatment you have to give. Therefore, you have to give report, proper report. Understood? FSN, fast moving, slow moving, and non-moving stock. These are all the points you have to write. That is important. Okay. Then, next important question. VED. Short notes on VED. VED stands for vital, essential, and desirable material. Vital, most important, essential, important, and desirable material. Under the system, inventories are classified on the basis of criticality of the production function. Criticality involved, that is important. Okay. FSN is based on what? Frequency of usage. Whereas criticality involved is called one? Vital, essential, and desirable. Okay. Vital material represent what? Unavailability can interrupt production and causes damage and loss. So it's the most important. If it is not available, production will going to get collapse. Strictly controlled by setting the various stock level. We need proper level of stock control. Essential. Items are essential but not vital. Clear? Important but not most important. Unavailability may cause sub-standardization or loss of efficiency in production. It's an essential product. Otherwise, efficiency of the production and the quality of the product may little compromise. That's why it's called essential. Then, therefore, essential products are reviewed frequently or periodically. Desirable means I need, okay, like discretionary cost. If you want, they can, otherwise also no problem. like advertisement expenses comes under discretionary cost. Here, desirable items are optional in nature, and unavailability does not cause production or efficiency loss. Clear? So unavailability is not going to give what? Any efficiency loss. That is called what? Desirable. Clear? Now, next one. HML. What is called HML? High level, medium level, and low level inventory. Clear? It's based on cost, high, medium, and low level cost, low cost inventory. Inventory are based on cost of individual items, unlike ABC, whereas classification based on overall value. Dear student, you have to be very, very careful in that. High cost inventory, immediately student will write A category item. Listen here, cost is different, value is different. ABC analysis is purely based on value involved, whereas HML is based on cost involved. Second point, ABC is based on overall total. The sense of what? A category item of the product, total value, whereas high value, low HML is based on individual item. Understood or not? Clear? So high cost, low cost, medium cost material means what? One particular material, item base. So inventories are based on cost of an individual item is called HML. Inventory with the higher cost is given more priority and low cost. That is vice versa. Clear? High cost inventory we are going to give the more priority. Okay. Now, based on that, we can see some post exam questions also. HML. Yes. Find out the appropriate inventory control technique of the following. Okay. First exam, 4 more question. On the basis of price of an what? Item of inventory. An item means one item. Therefore, you should not write ABC, you have to write HML. High cost, medium cost, low cost. Clear? Then, on the basis of importance of the inventory, VAD, vital, essential, and desirable. Next one, on the basis of inventory turnover, fast moving, slow moving, FSN, fast moving, slow moving, and non-moving. Such a beautiful question. On the basis of value and the frequency of inventory, value means ABC analysis. Now you got the grip over what? A category, there is what? HML, VED, FSN, and ABC. Clear? Good. See how beautifully the post exam question has been drafted. Okay. Next, we are going to discuss about bill of material and material requisition note. BOM and MRN, bill of material and material requisition note. With respect to BOM, it's a list of material required either for a particular job or work order is called bill of material. Material required for particular job. Bill of material, nothing but list of material. Okay, what are all the materials we need? MRN, it's a formal request for the supply of specified material to the production department. So requisition note we are giving what all the materials we need to the production department. So I'll repeat, meaning of bill of material is it's a list of material required either for the particular job or the work order. Whereas MRN, it's a frequency, formal request. I'll repeat, MRN, it's a formal request for the supply of specified material to the production department. Then, with respect to BOM, it is the document prepared by drawing officer, whereas MRN has been prepared by foreman of consuming department. Then BOM can be replaced MRN, but MRN cannot in the position to replace BOM. Then BOM act as an authorization for the issue of all the materials and stores item mentioned in BOM. Whereas MRN, it authorizes the issuing department to draw from stores the requisitioned material. Next, BOM can be used for the purpose of quotation, whereas MRN, it's useful in arriving historical cost only. Then, bill of material, it helps in keeping a quantity control on material drawn through stores requisition. Whereas MRN, it shows the material actually drawn from the stores. So totally, you have to remember 6 points with respect to BOM versus MRN. Bill of material versus material requisition note. First point is based on meaning, definition. Second point is based on who has to prepare. Third point is based on cross-utilization. Next, authorization based one, purpose and result. So these are all the 6 point difference with respect to BOM and MRN. Based on BOM and MRN also, they ask the first exam question, concept-based theory question. Then, identify the following item comes under the BOM or MRN. So this type of concept-based question students are not at all referring. That's the reason they are unable to get additional 5 marks. And not only that, if you're going to refer the concept-based question, you will become strong in bottom, the direct theory question also. So that you can happily get direct 20 marks also properly. First one, list of material required for the particular job comes under BOM, bill of material. Formal request for the supply of specified material, MRN. It authorizes the issuing department, MRN, material requisition note. Prepared by the foreman of the consuming department, again MRN. It can be used for the purpose of quotation, BOM, bill of material. It is useful in arriving historical cost, material requisition note, MRN. Okay. Now, next, we are moving to the next important question. JIT, just in time. Just in time question, also important. And the final, it's most important. 2-in-1 topic, 2-in-1 segment. Just in time. What is called the just in time? Just in, okay? Whenever I need material, I am going to get the material. That is called just in time. In general, if I am going to have the business, I have to purchase the material well in advance. Clear? And depending upon the availability of the stock, depending upon the market condition, I have to purchase well in advance. To avoid the same, whenever I need, if I'm going to purchase fresh stock I can get. That particular arrangement is called JIT, just in time. Whenever I need, I'm going to purchase the material. With respect to JIT, 2 things are there. One is called just in time purchase, another one is called just in time production. Just in time purchase, whenever I need, I'm going to purchase. That is called just in time purchase. For example, whenever I need, I'm going to place an order for my water can. Just in time purchase. Clear? And suppose I want to purchase one 2-wheeler. Then I have to go to the department or what showroom or the particular company. Then I have to place an order. I have to pay down payment. Some amount I have to, advance amount I have to give. Just like that, I can't afford to take one 2-wheeler. And I have to specify which color I want. What are all the extra accessories I want. Then thereafter only they will assemble the product. Then it is called what? They are assembling the product. After sales happen, booking happen, they are going to produce a product. That is called just-in-time production. So JIT, 2 things are that just-in-time purchase and just-in-time production. Just-in-time purchase is based on raw material. Just-in-time production is for finished goods. That is logic or not? Clear? Or pizza corner. I am having shop. Whenever the customer going to order, I am going to prepare the product. It's a just-in-time production. To produce the product, the basic ingredient I need raw material I need. Most energetic raw material, very good for health, is called maida. Okay, the wonderful dust in the world. Even then, people used to have. Okay, so I'm having tie-up with what the raw material supplier. Whenever I need, I have to transfer the raw material, this many kgs. Then, so purchasing maida is the what? Just the raw material is called just-in-time purchase. And producing the product as a pizza, the worst product in the world, is called what? Just-in-time production. So now we understood what is called the just-in-time. Just-in-time system is a philosophy is detected to eliminate. It is purely for the purpose of eliminate wastage of time. JAT is purely for the purpose of wastage of time. So many savings are there. That and all I are going to discuss. Okay. And originally, this philosophy has been derived in Japan. If you make our raw material suppliers agree that they deliver their goods in time and in quantity we need, then we almost eliminate raw material. Okay, eliminate raw material inventories. Nothing but what? Zero raw material. Rather, whenever I need, if I'm going to order the raw material, that type of a tie-up arrangement, if I'm going to have, zero inventory will be there or minimum inventory will be there. Otherwise, I have to purchase well in advance. I have to keep it in my godown. So I have to incur huge cost. Because of that, I can be the person to save inventory. I don't need to storage facility. I don't need much. So accordingly, cost also going to come down. Then 4 advantages they are telling: cost saving, cost of consumption, supplier coordination, and material management. These are all the what? 4 advantages with respect to JAT. Cost saving. JAT purchase result in cost saving. The cost of stock out of inventory carrying, material handling, and breakage, leakage are reduced. Cost saving, very easy. If I'm going to place an order well in advance and a bulk purchase I'm going to do, if they're not having JAT, then what will happen? So I have to incur huge carrying costs. Storage facility I have to incur. And because of the storage, handling cost will be there. Maintenance expense will be there. Leakage, breakage will be there. Those things and all I can be the person to avoid because of JAT system. That's why cost saving. Cost of consumption. Due to frequency of purchase of raw material, it is issued price will be equal to the replacement price. This method of pricing for valuing material issue will be realistic to the reflection of current market. Whenever I need, I'm going to purchase a raw material, then current market price always inventory going to be, method of validation of inventory, FIFO method, LIFO method. Here, JAT is there mean more or less market price only you are going to charge. Therefore, more realistic pricing, cost consumption possible. Supplier coordination. Supplier of raw material coordinate with the company and a supplier requires quantity of goods or material for which order is placed just before the start of production. Fresh raw material will get, supplier coordination will be there. Whenever I'm going to produce, that time they are going to supply. That set of benefits are there. We can have the better liaison with the supplier. Material management. Goods spend less time in warehouse or on store sell before they are exhausted. Risk of obsolescence is thereby reduced. If I'm going to keep the material in godown, obsolescence may be possible. That is also we can be the person to avoid because of what? JAT system. Next one. With respect to JAT, other advantages are there. What are the other advantages? It results in considerable savings in material handling expenses. Handling expenses will come down. Factory space utilization will be what saved. Inventory is very less only are going to store. So investment in the inventory will come down. Lost quantity discount to be obtained. That is paperwork can be what reduced, and daily deliveries will have the tie-up agreement. Therefore, fresh stock always you can be the person to have. So, with respect to better clarity about JAT, I'll show one diagram. Yes. JAT. First demand. Demand means what? Finished goods demand. Based on demand, I am going to produce the product. Okay. Production starts. Based on the material productions, material requisition should be made. Based on the order we have to pass. Then supplier will send the material. So how beautiful. First demand. Production start to the process for the based on the demand. Then production started mean material requisition we have to send. Material requisition send mean order they will pass, and based on that order, supplier is going to send the raw material. This is a diagram with respect to JAT system. Now we'll go for the next important one called perpetual inventory system and continuous stock taking. This is also very frequently asked a question. Difference between perpetual inventory and continuous stock verification. Now, difference between perpetual inventory and continuous stock verification. Perpetual inventory represent what? Continuous stocking, if you can understand perpetual inventory, very easy. Continuously, that's why continuous stock verification. Therefore, when the verification going to made, accordingly, the stock verification process has been classified in perpetual inventory and continuous. Both are stock verification. The stock verification broadly we can classify it into physical stock verification, but we broadly classify it into perpetual inventory system and the continuous stock verification. Continuously, I'm going to do throughout the year. I'm going to do any point at all I can verify mean that is called one continuous stock verification. Whereas perpetual inventory system, end of the financial year, end of the year only I'm going to do. That is called what? Continuous. That is called perpetual inventory system. So perpetual inventory system, inventories are checked, inventories are verified. Physical stock verification happen only at the end of the year. Whereas continuous stock verification, throughout the period, any point of time I can go and verify. Clear? That is called what? Continuous stock verification. So easy way to understand. Continuous stock verification like internal audit. Any point of time we can go and verify for the purpose of internal control. Perpetual inventory system represents statutory audit. How we are doing the audit once in a year only. Clear? So perpetual inventory similar to statutory audit. Continuous stock verification similar to what? Yes, internal audit. So that it has a better clarity. Then time covered with respect to perpetual inventory system. One time only are going once in a year. Therefore, attested will finish. 2 to 3 days will go and sit and will finish all verification. Whereas continuous stock verification frequently are going. Once in a month we can go. A category item, one time I can go and verify. Next month I can go for B category item. Therefore, periodic manner I can visit. So, verification itself going to happen 1 to 3 times. Whereas perpetual inventory system, one time, all verification of stock, we may going to extend the days to complete the work. Next, because of the verification, whether business has going to get disturbed, whether you have to stop the factory's activity or production activity or other activity, business activity. Perpetual inventory system, yes, stoppage may happen. Then only we can complete the work. Attested you have to complete. Whereas continuous stock, without any interference of the regular work, we have to do. Stoppage of business not going to happen in case of continuous stock taking. Then, updated record. Always whether you have to keep the updated record or not. In case of perpetual inventory system, always we don't need any updated record. Because once in a year only are going to go. Clear? Before we go, they may going to update the record. That is also possible. Whereas continuous stock taking, we are going at any point of time. Therefore, always update the record we need. Whether surprise element involved or not. In case of perpetual inventory, surprise element not involved. Already told only in the end of the year. Then where is the question of surprise? Whereas continuous stock taking, continuously we are going. When we are going, we don't know. Surprise manner. Therefore, in case of continuous stock taking, surprise element involved. Since surprise element involved, always updated record should be there. Understood? Next. Discrepancy. Identification of discrepancy. Only at the end of the year possible in case of perpetual inventory. Whereas continuous stock taking, immediately possible because periodically we are verifying. Then, efforts on whether it's going to help for the interim financial report. Perpetual inventory system, only at the end of the year we are going to do what? Verification. Therefore, perpetual inventory may not going to help for interim financial report, whereas continuous stock verification may going to help for interim financial report. Clear? So, perpetual inventory system versus continuous stock verification, most important question, very frequent asked question. It's similar to, perpetually similar to statutory audit, continuous stock taking is similar to internal audit, so that happily can be the point to write the points. Clear? So, what are all the points you have to write? When we are going to verify year-ended continuous basis. Next, time covered. Attested, you will finish the periodic basis. Stoppage of business going to happen or not. Surprise element will not be, whether the surprise element will be there or not. Then either always we need updated records or not. Discrepancy when we are going to find. Identification of mistakes, frauds and all. Then whether it is going to help for interim financial report. These are all the points you have to remember. Clear? So mnemonic for the same. Clear? TDS due. TDS due. Okay. T, time covered. D, definition you can write. Okay. Verification when we have to make, that's a definition. S, stoppage. D, discrepancy, identification of discrepancy. Due, DU, updated record we need or not. E, effects of interim financial report. Okay. TDS due is a mnemonic for the same. Now, first exam, concept-based theory question also we'll discuss parallelly. Yeah. Identify the following items comes under what type of physical stock verification? Further, you should know perpetual inventory in the continuous stock taking will comes under physical stock verification. Okay. Now, what type of physical stock verification? First one. All items are covered in a single structure of verification. Will comes under, yes, attested perpetual inventory system. There is no interference with the regular workflow at the time of verification. Continuous stock taking. Discrepancies are ascertained immediately when it is possible. Continuous stock taking. Responsibility cannot be easily fixed in case of discrepancy. Then perpetual inventory system. Due to surprise element involved, where is surprise element involved? Continuous stock taking only. So due to surprise element involved, inventory record must be maintained up to date in all point of time, called continuous stock verification. A, to prepare interim financial research. Which one? Continuous stock verification, continuous stock taking. In each verification, 2-3 items are covered. Where? Continuous stock verification. Perpetual inventory, 2-3 days to complete the work itself. Understood? All the items. Material receipt issued, etc. may have to be stopped to facilitate stock taking. So stoppage of work comes under perpetual inventory system. Clear? Now we got that clarity with respect to perpetual inventory and continuous stock verification. Clear? Good. Now, next, the next level is called material losses. Loss of material, the most important one. Okay. Now, with respect to material losses, it's a frequently asked question, material loss. Take printing industry. With respect to printing industry, we are going to print the book. Can you please tell me the basic raw material for the printing industry is what? Paper. Another one is ink. Yes. Can you please tell me availability of the paper raw material in the market and the size of the book always equal? May not be. Therefore, availability of the paper Okay, this is the paper. We are going to get the paper. And the size of the book, assume this is the size of it. It's the size of the book. It both may not be equal. Understood or not? Excess paper is there. So what they have to do? The immediate process. So if I'm going to keep it like that, okay, then excess paper is there. In the circumstance, the excess paper they have to cut. Assume this particular part alone they are going to remove. Then this particular part is called what? Waste. What is it called? Wastage. It's unavoidable. Yeah. Suppose in that book, this much paper not required. Then the excess paper. Then that is called what? Scrap. Why it is called scrap? Upper, this particular part may not be reusable. Whereas if I'm going to cut in this direction, this particular paper may be reusable. Small packet size book or packet size diary we can put. So depending upon whether it is reusable, whether you are having resale value or not, accordingly wastage or scrap will come. Okay, sir. Printing over, cutting over, thereafter binding process over. Then now we are having at the time of binding, book size should be even. Right? Edges should be even. For that purpose, clear? Machine will be there to cut. During the cutting process, only single book, each and every book they won't cut. Suppose barrels of books are available. 50 books are there. Due to carelessness of the worker, machine has cut in the wrong direction. We are cutted in this direction. Then, so instead of cutting what? In the correct manner, cut it in the what? Wrong direction. This particular pot has cut. That barrel consists of 50 books. The 50 books is reusable. Not possible. Therefore, the 50 books called spoiled, called spoilage. Then, okay, spoilage happened. Remaining books are there. I sold the books in the market. Students are purchased the book. After selling the book, 20 students told, sir, page number 25 and 26, printing is not proper. Or double time printing is there. Chances are there or not? Then those things are called what? Defective. Clear? Because of that, once spoiled, I can't the person to reuse. But defective, because of the 2-3 pages, I can't the person to throw the book. Because we are to depend on machinery. Clear? Lakhs and lakhs of pages is going to what print. Impression may not be proper. Sometimes double time impression will be there. Sometimes flow may not be, ink flow may not be proper. Due to that, defect may happen. Then with the little expenses, I can be the person to rectify the scene. Therefore, it's called defective. So, material loss can be broadly classified into 4 types. Now we have discussed about 4 material losses. What are they? Wastage, scrap, spoilage, and defective. Now, that has been broadly classified into 2 types. Loss of material broadly classified into 2 types. One is not due to damage. Another one is due to damage. Wastage is not due to damage, form part of process. Scrap is also form part of the process. Therefore, it's not due to damage. Defective, spoilage and defective, it's due to damage. Therefore, few things not due to damage and a few things what? Due to damage. Wastage and scraps comes under not due to damage, and spoilage and defect will comes under due to damage. So I'll explain by way of the chart. Now, material losses not due to damage. Wastage and scrap is not due to damage. Due to damage, spoilage and defective, it's due to damage. Under wastage, raw material loss. Wastage represents what? It's a loss of raw material. Whereas with respect to wastage, no resale value, that is important, more important. Wastage means there is no resale value. Scrap means we may have some resale value. We are having some resale value. Then it is called what? Scrap. Another one, wastage is connection with the input of raw material. scrap during the output. Understand logic or not? Another beauty is wastage is due to what? Input of raw material, whereas scrap is what? Connected with the output. At the time of production only scrap happen. Spoilage. Spoiled mean not rectifiable. Therefore, not rectifiable. Defective may be rectifiable. Now you got the idea about wastage, scrap, spoilage, and defective. Other things also we can discuss. Waste. With respect to waste, it represents that portion of basic raw material lost in process having no recoverable value is called wastage. Okay, portion of material lost in process and there is no resale value is called waste. Waste may be two types. One is visible, another one is invisible. So evaporation is also waste, petrol industry. So it may be visible waste or invisible waste. Okay. Shrinkage of material due to normal causes may also form part of material waste. Shrinkage of material, okay, that is also form part of waste. Types of wastage, two types are there: normal wastage and normal waste and abnormal waste. Normal waste, accounting treatment, it form part of cost or production, whereas it is abnormal waste transferred to costing P&L account. Clear? Accounting treatment of waste, normal waste form part of cost of production, whereas abnormal transferred to costing P&L account. Control of waste, how we have to control over the wastage. Normal allowances for yield and waste should be made from the past experience. Based on past experience, you have to analyze what could be the normal percentage of waste. Then we have to compare, okay, how much the normal and how much the actual. Then responsibility we have to fix. Who is responsible for taking care of this thing? And feedback we supposed to give. Okay, what and all happened? Why the variance? That feedback also you have to give. Clear? These are all the measurement you have to take for the purpose of better control over waste. Then scrap. Now we are moving to scrap. With respect to scrap, it's the incidental residual from manufacturing having small amount recoverable without any further process. Without any further process, we may going to get small income. That is called what? Scrap. Types of scrap. There are two types are there: normal as well as abnormal scrap. Normal scrap and abnormal scrap. Normal, if the value of scrap is negligible, then excluded from the cost. Otherwise, it will be treated as an other income. Scrap income is more means then that we have to want treated as other income. Then normal where scrap small income is there mean then total cost minus scrap value. Remember the process accounting. Clear process costing. Abnormal scrap after adjusting normal loss salvage value should be the balance should be transferred to costing P&L account. Same treatment that we are going to discuss about what process costing also. Clear? So types of scrap, normal or abnormal. In case of normal scrap, small value we can adjust with the cost of the product. And considerable value treated as a other income. Abnormal loss, after adjusting normal loss salvage value, balance only have to transfer to costing P&L account. Control of scrap. How we have to control over the scrap. Okay. First, effective utilization of raw material is important. Second one, control start from the product design itself. Then types of material we have to choose properly, quality material. Types of equipment should be proper. We have to maintain the equipment properly. Trained labor we need. Okay. Fixing of standards for the purpose of comparison. Then records and reports should be maintained properly. Okay. So that we can have the better control over the scrap. Now, difference between scrap, wastage and scrap. That is also a popular question. Wastage represents what? It's a loss connected with the raw material that is input on the production process. Whereas scrap, it's connected with one output. During the process of production, scrap will happen. Visibility, wastage may be in two types. It may be visible or invisible wastage. Whereas scrap, generally identifiable and physically measurable. Then residual resale value, waste not having any recoverable value. Whereas scrap may have what? Some recoverable value. Okay, small amount recoverable possible. Then accounting treatment also you can try different between wastage. In case of waste accounting treatment, normal wastage will form part of cost of production and abnormal will treated as a costing bin, transferred to costing bin account. Scrap, normal, if it is small value, excluded from the cost. Otherwise, it will be treated as other income. Abnormal means after adjusting normal loss salvage value, you have to transfer to costing bin account. Now, you understood wastage and scrap. Wastage in the scrap will form part of due to damage or not due to damage? Yes, not due to damage. Then, spoilage represent what? Spoilage very frequently asked a question, Kanna. November 2003, May 2005, 2007, November 2007, May 2009, clear? Very frequently asked a question, spoilage. Now, answers also students who probably wrote and spoiled the exam. With respect to spoilage, because wastage, scrap, spoilage, defective and all seems to be easy, but if you know the concept, then only you can write some sufficient points. Now, material which are badly damaged in the manufacturing operation and which cannot be rectified economically and hence taken out of process or to be disposed of in some manner without further processing is called spoilage. I'll repeat once again. Material which are badly damaged in manufacturing operation and which cannot be rectified economically and hence taken out of the process or to be disposed of in some manner without further processing is called spoilage. Types of spoilage, two types are there, normal spoilage and abnormal spoilage. What is the accounting treatment for normal spoilage? Normal spoilage form part of cost of production, whereas abnormal spoilage transferred to costing P&L account. How to have the control over the spoilage? Actual spoilage should be compared with the standard. Okay, we have to fix some standard, we have to do the comparison. And what about the variance? We have to report so that we have the better control. Then, defective. The next important one is defective. It signifies those units or portion of the product which can be rectified and turned out a good unit by the application of additional material, labor, and other services. Defect happened that can be rectifiable. Spoilage not rectifiable. And example, duplication of pages or omission of some pages in the book is called defective. Then it arises due to, first, what is the reason for the defective? Okay, this arises due to substandard material, bad supervision, bad planning, poor workmanship, inadequate equipment, okay, and what? Carelessness of inspection. Okay, these are all the reasons. To some extent, defect may be unavoidable by usually with the proper care it can be possible to avoid detect in good product during the process of production. Now, accounting treatment of defective. Accounting treatment of defective is a surprise one. May 2000, November 2003, May 2005, May 2007, November 2007, May 2009. For so many times they asked accounting treatment. Okay, accounting treatment of defective. Normal defective. In case of normal defective, for the 4 classification. First, in general, form part of cost of production. Normal defect will form part of cost of production. If the defecting department not identified, charged to general overhead. If the deflating department is identified, which department is the reason for the defect, then charged to particular departmental overhead. And due to specific job, then charged to particular job itself. I'll repeat once again. With respect to defect, normal defect. First, we are discussing normal defect. In general, normally, defect can be transferred to cost of production. Deflating department, mistake by the department, and which department you are not able to identify me, it should be form part of general overhead. If you can identify which department is the reason, then it's a departmental overhead you have to transfer. Then, due to specific job, particular job you have to transfer. In case of abnormal defect, what to do? Transfer to costing P&L account. Next, control of defect. How to have the control? By proper training of the employee, adequate supervision, purchase of quality material, installation of proper material handling expenses, by usage of proper tools and equipment. Then, control of defect may cover the following two areas: control over defective production and the control over rework cost. This is all where we can have the control. Next, difference between scrap and defective. That's the next important question. Now, with respect to difference between scrap and defective, scraps are not intended but cannot be eliminated due to nature of the material or process itself. Whereas defect are also not intended but can be eliminated through proper control. Then, rectification. Generally, scrap cannot be issued or rectified, whereas defect can be rectified. Then, scrap have insignificant recoverable value, whereas defect, after doing the rectification, have some decent revenue out of defect. Clear? Next, we'll do one practical question based on the same. Are you sleeping? Comfortable? Good. What happened? It's not open. Okay, no issue. Okay, I'll read it. Identify the following items comes under what type of material? First, particulars and a type of material losses. Portion of the product which can be rectified and turned as a good unit. What type of material loss? Portion of the product which can be rectified and turned out as a good unit. Then defective, just now we discussed. Okay, that can be rectifiable, therefore what? Good unit. It's a defective. Second one, have some residual value. Which one has a residual value? Scrap. Then third one, material which are badly damaged in the manufacturing operation and which cannot be rectified economically and hence taken out from the process. Badly damaged, not rectifiable, taken out from the process, called what? Spoiled, therefore spoilage. Rectifiable, defect can be rectifiable. Raw material loss in process have no recoverable value. Wastage. Raw material loss is a wastage. No residual value. Yes, wastage. Due to damage, what and all comes under due to damage? Spoilage and defective. What and all comes under not due to damage? Wastage and scrap. Yes. It may or may not visible. Which one? Wastage may be. Wastage is what? May or may not visible. One more first exam question also there. State whether the following comes under or following as a true or false question. Okay. Now, with respect to true or false. First one, safety stock increases as demand increase. Okay. Yes. Yeah. First one is what? Safety stock increases as demand increase. Comes under Safety stock increases as a demand increase. Is it correct? Let's discuss about safety stock. Safety stock itself for the purpose of one question. Because of increase or decrease in demand, safety stock will not get effect. Safety stock, so answer is not correct. Safety stock held for meeting the unpredictable fluctuation in the demand and supply. It varies with the fluctuation in demand and not with the level of demand. Okay. Second one, ABC analysis. In ABC analysis, high cost items are most likely fall in A category and least cost items are likely to fall in C category. Is it right? Most of the students wrote the answer is right, but it's not a correct one. High cost item, they said, that's not a correct. Value item only. Therefore, answer is not correct. Clear? In categorization of ABC is done on the basis of their annual usage value, consumption value, not based on high cost. Okay? 10. So the answer is not correct. Next one. To protect against the stock out, the large batch is must. So stock out, large batch is must. Then only we can avoid stock out. Is it correct? Yes. If the batch size is larger, number of order in a year will be lower. Hence, stock move to lower point, reorder level, fewer times in a year. Hence, damage or stock out will be less. Thus, to protect against the stock out, large batches must. Next question, fourth question. EOQ is based on balancing between inventory carrying cost and shortage cost. Not correct. Not shortage cost here. Ordering cost and carrying cost is the correct one. Therefore, answer is not correct. EOQ is based on balancing between ordering cost and the carrying cost of inventory. Clear? Not based on the shortage cost and all. Then, last one. Lead time is a time interval between replacement and placement of an order and receipt and last installation of goods against the order. Sorry, last installments of goods against the order. Is it correct? That is also not correct. Lead time is a time interval elapsing between date of placing an order and the date of receiving the goods. Order date and receipt date is a difference with respect to what? Lead time. Clear? Good. Now we are going to next level. Valuation of material issue. With respect to valuation of material, significant part of the production. Which one is significant part of the production? Material is a significant part of the production. So raw material is a significant part of the production. So how we have to do the valuation? Because with respect to valuation, we should be very proper. Little away from our subject I'll go so that we have a better clarity. That's why you can understand the drafting of ICA material also. Beautifully they drafted. Significant portion of the product, the production is a material. You know, in India, so many leather companies there, shoes, okay, bag, dress material, dress companies are there. Tirupur is the best example. But all the place, if you're going to see substantially, I can say what 95% of the material places, they are using the machinery. That machinery is an imported machinery. Have you noticed or not? Even Tirupur students may know. Clear? Or leather ware and all producing machines from imported machines. So in foreign, they are producing the machine. They are transferring the machine. We are producing the product and transferring the product. All branded shit, what we are wearing. 90% of the shit, it's produced in Tirupur only. And with the logo, they will resell. And if you are going to see 100 rupees worth of the dress material, they are selling it for 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees because of the one brand. And in place like Tirupur, one particular street itself, that branded shirts or export rejected shirt, they themselves are duplicate brand also they will produce. Why? Their same brand symbol alone, they are going to order. Their print they'll give. So if you go, superbly you can purchase. So 2,000 rupees worth of branded product, you can get for 250 rupees or 200 rupees. 10 shirts we can be the person to take. Happily you can wear it also. There is no inferior quality. Superb quality will be there. Further, you should know where you have to go and purchase. Now, come back to this. Missionaries, they are transferring. They are producing the product and they are transferring the materials. If the foreigner can be in the position to produce a mission to produce our product, is it not possible for the foreign people to produce a product itself? They can't the position to produce a shoe. They can't the position to produce Coca-Cola. They can't the position to produce a what dress material, handbag, leather bag. Not possible. If they can able to produce a mission for the product, is it not possible to produce the product itself? Very well possible. But they are depending on India. We are only exporting all dress material from Tirupur, all the leather product from what? India. Why? Because we are all highly educated people. We know the cost sheet. In cost sheet ever come across, major part of the cost, out of the total cost, major part is raw material. Have you ever come across the one of the material is a raw material is a water? In cost sheet, water is the raw material. Have you ever come across? We are not bothering raw material as a water. Water is a raw material. Even to purchase raw water bottle, I am spending what, 10 rupees or 20 rupees per day basis or per time. But to produce a product, how many liters of water? You know how many cans you are purchasing? 20 rupees can, 30 rupees can. With the delivery, door delivery, they are paying extra cost. Think it of how many liters of water they are using to produce a product. To produce one bottle of Coke, 1 liter of Coke, they are wasting 65 to 70 liters of water. The Coke, if you are going to spill, if you want to wash it, you know what? How much water? Sticky will be there, you have to wash it. Think it of the machine they want to clean, they have to reproduce how many liters of water they have to use. To produce 1 liter of Coke, they are wasting what? 65 to 70 liters of water. Similarly, one shoe, they have to waste for 80 liters of water. Then only they can produce one shoe. Cleaning process, so washing, clear, rewashing, then only product will come. Dress material, you know, clear how many liters of water they are wasting. In spite of the in cost sheet, cost of production, raw material cost, water cost, one form part of raw material cost, form part of what cost of production. Clear? And the government also superbly they are doing. Even to produce alcohol, all politicians only having the factory. They have to waste what? Almost 65 to 70 liters of water. 55 to 60 liters of water. Think it of how much water. And we are purchasing water by way of paying cost. You have to pay 20 rupees to purchase the water. So ultimately, we are only, normal human only going to suffer. General public only going to get affected. And foreign, water is also form part of cost of production. That's a huge cost for them. But here, plenty of resource available, they are selling at free of cost. We thought, okay, whatever the product I produce, cheaper rate, but they are getting it for better rate. But unfortunately, we are omitting one particular cost itself. That's the reason we are spending as a general public, we are spending for purchasing the water itself. So somebody is enjoying the benefit, we are paying cost for the same. Think it of, we are going to stop all unwanted activities. How much the savings in water will be there. Clear? Now, how to value the material? That is what we are going to discuss now. Valuation of material. Significant part of the cost of production is material cost. Hence, this should be valued properly in order to find correct cost of production. The following are the method of valuation of material issued. What all the methods are there? FIFO method, LIFO method, and the weighted average method. First in, first out FIFO, last in, first out LIFO, and the weighted average methods. FIFO method, what is with respect to FIFO method? It's a method of pricing the issue of material in the order in which they purchase. First in, first out. What is the first material purchase in what price? That price only I'm going to take. That is called FIFO method. In other words, the materials are issued in the order in which they arrived in the stores, or the item longer in store or used first. Clear? So understanding FIFO LIFO is basic, but you have to draft some points also in exam. Then only get 5 marks. Clear? Longer the period which one store, that only you are going to take. Okay. Thus, each item of material only recover the purchase price which does not reflect the current market price. Original purchase price only you are going to take for the valuation. Thus, the method is considered suitable in time of falling the price because the material cost charged to the production will be high while the replacement cost of material will be low. I will repeat, this method is considerably suitable in time of falling in price because original price is high, now the price is less. If I'm going to give FIFO method, the original price, higher price only I'm going to quote for the purpose of preparation of cost of production. Acceptable method as per AS2. FIFO method is an acceptable method for valuation of inventory. Now, going back to next one is called LIFO method, lost in first out. Lost in first out, it's not acceptable as per accounting standard. Okay. In this method of pricing, the issue of material is based on assumption that the item of the lost batch purchase ought to be first to be used. Which one latest purchase material, that only we have to use. Therefore, under this method, the price of the lost batch are used for pricing the issue until it is exhausted and so on. If, however, the quantity of issue is more than the quantity of lost lot, and if the price will be also be taken into consider. So depending upon which lot we are going to use, that lot price you are going to take. During the inflation pricing of the period of rising price, the use of LIFO will be helped to ensure the method of the pricing. And AS2 is not accepted. As per AS2, LIFO is not accepted. Then weighted average method. This method is a acceptable method since the value of issue is based on weighted average purchase pricing. This method smoothens the price level change. However, since it's not based on actual cost, instead of the recognition of the instance of recognizing unrealistic profit or loss may arises in many times. Real price we are not fixing, average price only fixing. Therefore, unrealistic profit or unrealistic roll, realistic may not, real profit may not be the portion arrive. This price is called calculated as, this price is calculated as and when the new lot is received. Whenever new lot is there, again average price will change. Formula for average price, valuation baby, total purchase price minus cost of the earlier issue divided by total quantity received minus quantity issued into current quantity of issue. Current quantity issue is a valuation methodology with respect to weighted average. So FIFO method, LIFO method, and the weighted average method form part of what? Valuation of material issue. That is also important question. And last segment is called obsolescence. What is called obsolescence? Outdated. Clear? No use. Physical life will be there. Useful life may not be there. Okay? It may be there, but we are not ready to use. That is called obsolescence. Like today, if you are going to open office, will you purchase computer or you will purchase what? Typewriter or computer? Computer only, no. Typewriter is outdated one. Clear? Life is there, but we won't prefer. Clear? Similarly, obsolescence represents what? It's defined as the loss in the intrinsic value of the asset due to its supersession. We are going to reject those products. Material may become obsolete under any one of the following circumstances. First one, whether it is spare parts or the component of machine used in manufacturer, and that machine become obsolete. Where it is used in the machine of the product which has become obsolete. Where the material itself is replaced by another material due to either improved quality or fall in price. These are all the reason in which what the product or material become obsolescence. Treatment. In all the cases, the value of the absolute material held in the stock is a total loss, and immediate steps should be taken to dispose it off at the best price available. Immediately you have to dispose it off. What is the price they are ready to give, that we have to sell it off. The loss arising out of absolute material is an abnormal loss and does not form part of cost of manufacture. Clear? So it should not form part of cost of production. So it's abnormal loss. It should not happen. Proper control or measurement you have to take care. Clear? So with this, material costing theory is over. Hope you enjoyed. Now we'll move for labor, employee cost, also called labor costing. Okay. Bye-bye.